When you watch college football, you're not just looking at a sport. You're looking at human effort, tradition, emotion, teams fighting under autumn skies, whole towns united behind colors and songs, and young players learning about perseverance, loss, and triumph. What can this teach you about world building? Well, first, traditions are an anchor of meaning. What do I mean by that? Well, college football thrives on ritual. Marching bands echo across fields. Old rivals meet each year to settle old scores. Alumni come back to the same parking lot and share old stories. These customs didn't just come up overnight, they're layered, generation on generation. In your world building, traditions have to have that same layering. They need to remind people who they are, what they've come through, and what they believe is worth preserving. Invest time in building small, everyday customs. Think about college football, the painting of a face before a game, the fight song. Over decades, measured in world time or in your reader's slow discovery, these customs become anchors for your society and give it depth that simple lore dumps never can. Number two, heroes are shaped by hardship and context. The stars of college football are symbols of hope for communities. A running back known for breaking impossible tackles could be the pride of a farming town where life is rough. His success on the field could echo their success and their struggle in the fields. In your world, heroes should do more than just perform heroic acts, going from place to place with no connection to community, no connection to society, no connection to history. They should reflect the values and burdens of the communities. Build characters who earn their place. Let their trials, be it drought, war, or mighty creature in distant hills, let those mirror real struggles of the people that those heroes represent. Ensure that your heroes feel necessary, not just famous. College football also teaches us about the power and place of seasons. College football rests on autumn afternoons, crisp air, golden leaves falling into quiet streets. In winter, football fields go silent. We feel a natural close to that year's drama. When building your world, let the land and seasons guide the rhythms of life. Certain events should just feel right in certain times of year. A harvest festival means more when it comes after months of toil, and when the first frost on the grass marks the boundary between hope and hardship. Let place and season frame your stories. Those mountains that birth the stormy winds, the seas that bring foggy mornings. Your world will not feel assembled from spare parts, but it needs to be grown naturally from its setting. College football also teaches us that communities are forged by shared passion. On game day, people who have never met shake hands, share jokes, tailgate. Strangers become neighbors under the same team banner. In your setting, consider what unifies people who might otherwise have no reason to speak. If your villagers love a certain dance in the spring, or nomads celebrate a rare bloom of desert flowers, that shared moment can bind a community more tightly than any law. In a well built world, the people's bonds arise from these communal experiences, these liminal experiences. They feel real because they stem from genuine emotions like pride and hope and nostalgia, or even created emotions, right? Like for college football fans, right? There's a big commercial industrial complex trying to create these emotions in fan bases. Another thing college football can teach us about world building is that conflict and rivalry are creative forces. Rivalries give college football much of its flavor. Every year, old enemies meet. Each encounter carries the weight of those old victories, those old losses. So, for your world, remember that conflict doesn't need to be sprawling. It doesn't have to be war after war after war. Sometimes it can just be a long standing grudge between two neighboring towns, or ongoing tensions between differing clans. And those can fuel their own generations of myths and songs and tales. Rivalries give communities a reason to define themselves. It's us, not them, right? To strive harder. They put pride and identity at stake. This can lead to cultural richness, like a special bread that's baked only on a special day where you're competing against that rival town, a color that's only worn the week before a big contest. Conflict, when used wisely, doesn't just destroy, it shapes and refines the cultures. College football also teaches us that there's multiple layers of participation. In college football, not everyone is on the field. There's coaches, there's band members, cheerleaders, equipment managers, journalists, tailgaters, and fans simply sitting on a porch listening to a radio broadcast. Your world, too, should have multiple ways for people to engage with its central institutions. A grand festival might be enjoyed differently by nobles and by commoners. Artisans might spend weeks crafting decorations while scholars argue about historical precedents. Think about those subcultures and their interaction with institutions. The closer you look, the more you'll find unique roles, perspectives, and interactions. And this layered participation adds depth and realism to your world. It suggests a world where everyone, no matter their station, has a piece in the event's meaning. College football also teaches us that there's a tension between tradition and change. It now is navigating between this old school pride and the modern era, of television contracts and shifting alliances, shifting conferences, people moving to the SEC, out of the SEC, to the ACC. In your world, let things evolve. Show the strain when old ways meet new pressures. Maybe a once humble harvest fair becomes a marketplace drawing merchants from far away and dilutes its original purpose. Or maybe there was a sacred ritual, but now it's performed more just for foreign visitors to show off their culture than it is for the gods. And this tension can provoke debate, unrest, innovation. A believable world is one that changes, sometimes gracefully, sometimes clumsily, but always interestingly. College football also teaches us that the in-between moments count. What do I mean by the in-between moments? Well, while the big games in college football mark the calendar, those quieter hours define the heart of it. Early morning practices, the hum of conversation in the stands before kickoff, an old man telling a story to his granddaughter about a game. These small scenes can bring authenticity, and in your setting, don't rely solely on grand battles or sweeping sagas. Show the craftsman repairing a broken cartwheel while children are racing in a dusty alley. Show lovers meeting at a shrine when no one's watching. These minor beats will give your world texture. They'll ensure that it doesn't feel like a stage that's just rolled out for high drama. College football also teaches living legends and shared memories, so college football players become something larger than life. Their names linger around the school longer after they've left the field. So too in your world, memory matters. Collective, communal memory matters. Let the deeds of these past figures remain in folk songs, carved runes, and proverbs. Encourage your readers or those interacting with your world to feel history not just as a lore dump, but just woven into all of these cultural artifacts. When characters recall old heroes, they'll invite people to believe that there's a world beyond the page, that something existed before the story began, and that it'll continue after it ends. Finally, college football teaches that every story has human emotion at the core. Beneath the uniforms, beneath the helmets, college football is about the emotion. Children longing to impress their elders, students eager to prove themselves to the world, whole communities hoping for some kind of glory that they're going to fill their share in. In your world, never lose sight of the human heart at the center of it, the human emotion, ambition, fear, pride, love, regret. No matter how large your story, no matter how big your saga, those emotions, these key human emotions, are the engines that drive everything. If your world is well crafted, if it has all the lore, if it's deeply built, if you know every mountain's name, but you lack those honest threads of feeling, your world is going to remain hollow. Guys, thank you again for watching. Every video that I do, every topic that I cover is in an effort to improve the work of the procedural map generator. If you want to support the procedural map generator, or if you just enjoy these videos, please hit like and subscribe below. Thanks again.